Hi everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight, the horror movie podcast here on the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. I'm Peter Bradley, and I'm joined, as always, my partner in crime, Tim Vargulish.
Thank you, Pete. I can't wait to talk about the spookiest of the spooky movies today.
Yeah. And if you're wondering what that... There might be a little bit of extra noise in the background for this show. That's coming from Joseph Kohler's house because he's got a storm going on right now and there's rain going down his chimney. So
if anybody wants to start building an ark, it would be appreciated.
Yes, get him an ark, or just get him a good last meal or something. I don't know. This could be his last episode. He might be washed away at sea by the time we do next week's. But we're here today because we talk about horror movies, and we always talk about either a new movie or an old movie. This is the first time this year we're actually going to talk about a new movie. Now, admittedly, in the US, this has been out for over a month. But it didn't come out in the UK until this past week. So I finally got a chance to go see it. And we're going to talk about The Forest, which is a new movie starring Natalie Dormer. And it's based around the forest in Japan that lots of people go and commit suicide every year. It's a real place in Japan. I've seen a documentary about it before. And people in Japan go there to commit suicide. So much so that every year they have to go through and like find all the bodies that, you know, pop up, and some bodies just never get found, and you know, I imagine it's one of the most eerie places to walk through on Earth just because there's so many goddamn dead bodies kicking about.
Yeah.
But so we're going to talk about it. So full spoilers, as always. Although honestly, if I were you, I wouldn't care about spoilers. I'd just stick around here. I just tear this to shreds because it's a complete piece of shit.
Yeah.
It is the definition, to use a phrase from Red Letter Media and their excellent review show Half in the Bag. It is an example of a fuck you, it's January movie, and it has that written all over it. It is awful. It is an awful film. I'm just going to Tim, just confirm for me, you also hated this.
Yeah, this is a big old steamy pile of garbage.
Good. Good.
The scariest thing about this movie was that I wasn't sure if I'd be able to see it because I think it like went out of theaters like really quick around here. It was like the second weekend it was open. I was like, oh, I got to make sure to see it, and it was like one like showing left. I was like, oh shit.
I would
actually, I'll tell you, this is true story. This is how much this movie sucked, and no one cared about it. I bought a ticket, and no one even ripped it when I went to the theater. Like there was no one. Like usually people, you know, stand in front and like will rip your ticket as you're going into the theater. No one did that. I went in. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 other people. It was the door to the theater was like propped open by a trash can. So there's like this real annoying like light shining through from the hallway. So and like I kept thinking like, oh well, one of the people will come, like one of the, you know, whatever people that work there will come by and move it. But like after like 15 minutes, no one moved it. So I actually had to get up, go and move the trash can just so we could get like the theater nice and dark. And it was so bad.
Actually, to add to that, it came out in the UK on Friday, just there. I went and seen it on opening day. Not because I was, you know, that eager, just because, you know, I like going to the movies on a Friday when the new movie's open. It makes sense. Works for me. And admittedly, it was a matinee showing, and for matinees, they never actually have people standing ripping their tickets. They just rip them at the cashier, the counter. They just do it there and then because it's quieter during the day, so they don't police it quite as much because it's not as busy. But opening day, there was 2 other people in the theatre with me who came together. So in terms of like parties, there was only 2, me and this other pair of old gentlemen who were in their like 60s. Who were there to see, I don't know, a hot young female, I guess, I don't know. I don't know why they came to see it. I came to see it because we do this show, and I was, you know, you know, we try to cover the new horror movies that come out, certainly all the ones that we can go and see. Also, I just want to warn you guys, I got a trailer for a movie when I went to see this. They look like the same plot as Unfriended, but much worse.
Oh, God.
Called Friend Request. And I'm warning you now, you're going to go see it. It looked atrocious.
I need to look for a release date.
Yes.
Fantastic.
That'll be a fun one.
Joseph, you saw this opening weekend too, right?
I saw it the day after it opened, and half of my theater was full. It actually
Oh,
lasted 3 weeks here. It lasted a little longer than
okay.
with you,
Well,
but
if you ever need proof that the South was a bad place, the fact that the theater was half full for The Forest is all the
well,
proof you need.
I will say a lot. I'm friends with the managers of my local theater, and a lot of them just go see every horror movie despite anything that gets said, and that's just kind of the mentality. Most people just go see every single horror movie down here.
Which, to be fair, I mean, we kind of do that on this show.
I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, like I didn't think the movie was going to be amazing, but I was kind of looking forward to it because Pete,
I like
like
the
you
locale.
said, yeah, no,
I thought the
I've heard
premise was
about
good. Yeah,
yeah,
the
I've
setting's
heard
good.
about it before, and it is like if you hear about something like that, it's like, oh well, that's like the perfect setting for a horror movie. There's actually like a lot of really cool things you could probably do with that. Uh, Miraculously, this movie managed to avoid all of them.
Yes, I agree. So to bring it back around, you said the scariest thing was how quickly it left theaters and how difficult it was to see. I would disagree with that. I think the scariest thing about this movie is the script because
Okay.
it is awful. It is awful in so many goddamn ways. It is abysmally bad. Because the movie opens with Natalie Dormer's character. Well, it's kind of weird to say that because she's got two characters. Because she plays a twin. But one of them you never see. I can't remember which name's which, but I think Julie's the one that's missing. She's the one that's went to the forest, and she knows she's
Sarah
went
and
there.
Jess.
Jess?
Sarah and Jess. Sarah is the
Main
main.
one?
Jess
Yeah,
is the
okay.
sister.
Yeah, it was a name with like a J, right? That's how much I remembered. The twin's name began with a J, right? So Jess is away in the forest. She's went missing, and the movie opens with Sarah packing her bags, middle of the night, going to the airport and going to Japan. And so far, I'm thinking, all right, okay, we're hitting the ground running, and maybe they'll reveal, what's going on, why she's there as the movie goes on. Nice naturally build up some mystery. As soon as she gets to Japan, there's instant flashbacks to just like random dinner scenes and meeting the boyfriend's boss and all this stuff that feels really rushed. None of it feels natural. And honestly, the only scenes of the movie I really liked were her wandering the streets of Japan, and it almost made me think this movie would be better if it just left the forest to the last act. Like, see if most of the movie was her trying to figure out why her sister went there and like try to like trace her steps in Japan when she doesn't know anyone. That feels like a more interesting movie to me.
Yeah.
Instead, she goes. Apparently, her sister was like a teacher, in Japan teaching English. She goes to the classroom and one of the students like shits herself and screams her head off, which I thought was amusing. But
The thing is, like, the whole plot is so irrelevant. Like, it seems like they were just really like, let's just get to the forest. How do we get there? I don't know. They're
Looking for somebody. Somebody important.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It might have almost been better if, like, they probably didn't need a sister angle. Like, they could have just had, like a person just, kind of maybe for whatever reason needing a change and moving to a foreign country and then maybe feeling kind of weird and isolated and then finding this thing and stumbling into it or
A more personal
just
drama about their own
yeah
feelings
or
and how the forest preys on it.
yeah, no, that could have been better. You could have simply just had a movie with Japanese people in Japan. Like, it didn't have to be an American.
But yeah, but
I don't know.
this is Hollywood America talking though. There has to be a
Yeah.
white person as the main character, or none of us are going to follow it because we can't handle it.
I don't know if you guys want if you want to jump into this right away, but I was gonna ask, like, did you guys think that this was like maybe just like a teensy bit like racist or offensive at parts? Like, I don't know, like I don't like to kind of, I think like a lot of times like people jump the gun and like calling stuff racist, but like I don't know, there were like a few scenes in here like I don't know when she's like getting dinner and like she's served like that fish and she's like all like disgusted and I was like, oh, don't you have anything that's like dead? And like kind of like stuff like that.
Oh, I don't think that. No, I wouldn't. I would disagree with that. I think that. I think that's fine because honestly, I'd have the same reaction. I don't think it's a racism thing. I think it's just.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to food in particular, when you go to a foreign country and they have completely different food,
Yeah.
it's one of the things that makes you feel alienated and, pardon the phrase, but lost in translation. Like where you feel
Yeah.
kind of like an outsider. You don't understand what's going on. You don't understand anything.
I think there was like a few things like that, and then I think there's like a couple other parts where she kind of seemed like kind of like mocking of like when people were talking about like spirits and stuff, and then I wasn't sure like is that just supposed to be like this character who, I don't know, maybe she's like a little culture shocked, or maybe
I think she was just more ignorant of the culture. Her sister was more aware of it and more, but we don't get to see that, of course.
I don't know. I think like I don't think it was like super offensive, but I don't know. I feel like maybe it could have been handled better because I had trouble telling if that's like the character feeling this or if it's like the director being like, look how crazy this country is.
I think everything in the movie could have been handled better.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read that. I mean, I think it's very. It's a very weak, shallow film. So I don't really think it's. I think it is meant to be the character, and I think if the movie was better made, you wouldn't even be thinking this. I think you're just going off on this weird tangent because you're not really sure how to process anything because the movie's not really giving you anything.
I feel like I don't know, like I wasn't offended, but I think maybe if someone else said they were offended, I wouldn't really be surprised.
It's just typical American person goes to a place and judges everything. I don't necessarily think it's offensive in and of itself. It's just because it is just kind of the character thing. But honestly, I never even thought that necessarily when I was watching it. I was too busy complaining about the lack of proper exposition or exposition told in an interesting way or a proper arc or a proper anything really. So the lead character, Sarah, she meets this guy who's all helpful and is a writer and is doing whatever, and the movie kind of plays with it. Is he to be trusted? Is it not supernatural? Is he just some sort of serial killer who killed her sister and she has to now be worried about it? But it kind of really underplays it. It just kind of comes up when she gets paranoid halfway through. And you kind of get that, it's just a ghost whispering in her ear, one of the spirits of the forest.
Yeah.
And it turns out the movie's whole thing is to try and make people commit suicide. Because if there's sadness in you when you go in, they'll make you commit suicide. And there's this weird thing about her backstory, about her realising that her parents weren't in a car crash, but her dad actually killed her mum, but she never looked.
Himself.
Yeah.
And it just... And see the problem with this, it ended up being a plot point, but earlier on when she was telling the story to the guy, the flashbacks didn't match it. Because she was like, oh, we went out to the front lawn and we seen the car was there, and the flashback showed them going out of the basement or whatever it is, and I'm like, wait a minute,
so we instantly knew that it was false. It was lying to herself.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't, because the movie's so shoddy from the get-go that I was just like, is this a mistake? Did they actually fuck this up? Like, what's going on? And it turned out they didn't. Turned out it was meant to be a mistake, but it had no impact at the end. My biggest problem with this, other than the fact that it's just not scary and it's full of bullshit jump scares.
And one thing I did want to mention about that too is I'm not a fan of jump scares, but a lot of times they still get me if I don't see them coming. Not that I like them, but I might be like, oh, get a little startled or whatever.
It's cheap, yeah, it happens.
Yeah, but the ones in this, they didn't even scare me at all. They didn't even catch me off guard. I think the first one is she's having this dream where she sees either herself or her sister as a little kid, and she kind of leans in, and then the kid looks at her, and then
the
her.
One.
No,
the first one
the old woman.
No, it's the old guy, and it just bangs up against the car window for no reason.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
That's the first one.
Smiles at
Yeah.
her and laughs at her for it.
That was
Yeah.
when I knew things were going bad. Like I knew at that moment. I was like, "Oh my god, is this what this movie's going to be doing now for the rest of this?" Jesus.
Yeah, but like even that stuff, like it didn't even make me jump. Like I just looked at it like, okay.
Ironically, the most impressive one was the one that didn't have sound. It's when she's looking through the clicker thing, and she's seeing different images, and it's just like the face just appears, but there's no sound to it.
Oh yeah.
That was legitimately the only one that was kind of creepy, because there was no sound. It actually makes it better by not having the sound and not forcing it like that.
Yeah.
But the problem is though is there's no weight to anything that's happening in the forest. Yeah, you get the idea that there's so many ghosts and fucked up things because of all the people who've committed suicide, but it's never really explored. You never really get a sense of what it wants them to do other than commit suicide. There's no reason for it. Now that's not to say there needs to be a reason. Sometimes you can have just a mysterious force, but the movie focuses so much on what the characters try to do. It's like she's not just trapped there, she doesn't just get lost. If they'd just done this like Blair Witch style, had this been people trying to make a documentary and got lost in the woods, and then like had to just deal with shit happening to them, it would have probably worked quite well. But it's not. It's so focused. It's her looking for her sister, and then the thing that pissed me off more than anything else in this movie is when we find out the sister's still alive, it just cuts to her in the middle of a scene. There's no build up, there's no grand reveal, there's no inventive way possible that this even comes up. The camera just cuts to her. The editor just cuts to her sitting at a fire.
Oh, hi, Jess.
She's just there. She's just been there randomly somewhere the entire time.
Like she's just chilling, not seeing any ghosts at all, just like like relaxing.
Meanwhile, the main character's been tricked into slitting her wrists.
Yeah.
And she dies.
She
And she kills
thought she
the
was cutting her father's fingers.
yeah.
And then
She
and then
killed
what?
the reporter guy or whatever.
Yeah,
she
she thought
kills
the
him,
reporter
yeah.
killed her, had her sister in a basement and stabbed him, and
So-
then realized he was innocent.
Yeah. So wait, so was he was definitely innocent then?
Yes,
Right, Mom,
because there was
yeah.
nothing in his phone.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, nothing.
Her paranoid, and she was hallucinating it all.
Because I
She just
like
killed him.
because honestly I couldn't tell. I was like, all right, so wait, is he like not a killer or?
So does
Like,
he
I guess
join the ghosts
obviously
of
he
the
didn't kill
force?
Jess, but
Does he join the ghost because he didn't kill himself? Isn't the whole point for you to kill yourself? So is he not going to join them, or?
Who cares? Why are you even asking? Who cares? Who fucking cares?
we want to
Wait.
know for Force too.
Trying to find something with
Beyond the
substance.
trees.
There's nothing of merit in it. Oh my god, the pacing's awful as well. It's 90 minutes long,
Yeah.
but it feels like 3 hours.
It really did feel
Almost
long.
fall asleep.
It's I'd say it's frustrating. I think would be a good word to describe it. Like you know, in horror movies, you get that cliche of people doing stupid things, and you're like, oh no, don't go there, don't do that. But this, I feel like it was like really amped up. Like I was so annoyed with her, and constantly just being like, oh, I'm gonna stay here. Like I'm gonna go in the woods. Like no, don't do that. Well, I'm gonna stay overnight. No, don't do that. It's like stop doing stupid things. Like
And then, on top of all that, I didn't think the acting was very good from particularly anyone.
yeah, it wasn't great.
The boyfriend shows up at the end to try and like help find her, and they have a search party, and they end up finding the sister. But like, he was in like one scene at the start of the movie. Like, I don't care what he's going through or what he cares about. Everything about this was inept.
Yep.
It was a bad movie,
Awful.
really bad.
What about the one scene maybe like I kind of liked was when she like fell down that hole and that like girl was like leading her into the cave.
Oh, and then she realized she was a ghost as well, and all the other ghosts came out.
Yeah, they had mentioned something earlier about them thinking like the underground caves were like a portal to the underworld or something like that. So then once she was underground, I was like, oh, okay, this is like kind of
I
cool.
forgot
But
about
then
that.
it's like, but of course that's just like a small tiny smidgen of something okay in a big pile of shit,
Even then, I wouldn't say like I feel like that's so underexplored. Like, do
Oh,
something
yeah.
with that. Have the ending
Yeah.
be in the caves where we see something cool from the underworld, or like,
Yeah.
do something interesting. But it doesn't. It meanders. It bullshit characters doing bullshit things, and nah, I have very little positive to say about this. I really do. This is a bad start for the year. It really is.
Aw.
That said, probably a little bit better than Sinister 2.
I definitely disagree with that.
I will actually disagree with that too.
Wholeheartedly.
But I do put it on the same level as The Gallows.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
See, I'd rather watch Gallows again than watch Sinister 2 again.
No.
I'd go Sinister too.
I hate Sinister 2 with a passion.
Gallows was far worse.
One positive thing I will give this movie is that I did think there were some like pretty shots in it. Like when they would do like some of those like overhead shots of the forest, I thought like, oh, that looks pretty.
Oh, that reminds me actually. How good is the battery life on her phone? She's still using it as a flashlight like 3 days later. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Is that the newest model or something?
Bollocks. That's what I say. Bollocks. Do we have anything else we want to talk about in the movie?
I don't know.
How about the twin bullshit where she's like, oh, I just know she's alive, I can feel it. There's that low hum that's there because she's there, and then her sister feels it go away when she dies at the end. Like, I just like, oh, come on.
Or, that's one thing. At the very end, last year we complained about how a lot of horror movies were doing that jump scare at the very end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sinister did it, Unfriended did it, The Gallows did it, and now this one committed that sin as well.
It did. It did.
Just her staring into the forest to see her newly transformed ghost sister jump scare not even really jump scare, just move forward really fast towards the screen.
And I sighed.
Yeah.
Then I left
It's
the theater.
I feel like I wasted my life.
Yeah, it really is a shame too when it's like, again, I didn't think it was going to be great, but you think something might have the potential. Like, I wouldn't say the trailer was horrible, and and again, like knowing the back matter of it, I was like, this could be interesting, and at least if it's going to be a shit fest and you walk in there like that, it's like, that's what you're expecting or whatever. But I don't know.
It's just shit. It's not even funny shit. It's not even like something I can gleefully make fun of. It's just kind of really dull and uninteresting and poorly made, poorly acted. Plots
None of that
generic.
None of that so bad it's good kind of stuff in it.
Yeah, none of that factor. And I thrive on that. Give me so bad it's good, and I will have a field day. But all right, well, I guess we're just gonna go to ratings now because I don't think we even have much more to say on this.
It's a shallow and thin movie. There's not much to talk about.
Yeah.
There isn't. There really.
Wish this movie would go into a forest and commit suicide.
This movie almost made me get a plane ticket to Japan and go see that forest.
All right, so I don't know how many dead twin sisters out of 10. Joseph.
Okay, I'll give it 1 twin dead sister for being set in the Akihabara forest, and 1 dead twin sister for the underground scene, and that's it. So 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Timmy.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know. I think before the podcast, I was thinking something around the 3 region, but I don't know. Just the more we talked about it, and I kind of like was remembering more about it, I might even have to go lower than that. So I'll probably give it a 2 as well.
Well, I struggle with things like this because I'll probably go with a 2 as well, because I can't give it a 1, because a 1 means something very specific. A 1's
Birdemic.
Yes, a 1's Birdemic. So it can't be a 1.
I think I gave a 1 to Green Inferno.
Yeah, I didn't go that long, Green Inferno. I still give that like a 3.
A 0 is Haunted House Demon Poltergeist Attack.
No, a 0 is Scary Movie 5.
No, this is worse. Tim and I have seen it.
Yeah, and I think like 0 would be like a sandwich, something that's not even a movie. You're just like,
No,
you
but
know,
a sandwich can be good.
not well, maybe it's
I
a
had a
shitty
nice
sandwich.
solid 7 out of a sandwich earlier.
Yeah, but so we all give it the same score. We all give it 2 out of 10.
Yep.
That's pretty damning. That might be the lowest average we've ever had on this show.
I gave the Gallows a 2, I think. Do you remember what you gave the Gallows?
I can't remember. I think it was like a 3. Maybe a 4 at a push, but I can't remember.
I was probably between 2 and 3.
Yeah, so
But no,
worse than the Gallows.
Yeah, I think this is lower. So, yeah, that's The Forest. First new horror movie we've covered this year. It's actually been released this year. Luckily, the next one we'll be doing in a couple of weeks, I think, will be a much more favourable video. I won't spoil what that is, but you can probably guess. However, next week we'll be back to doing something from the past. I'm not sure which just quite yet, but you'll find out when you tune in next time on Screams After Midnight. Of course, let us know what you thought of The Forest down below in the comments on YouTube, or if you're listening to the audio podcast, of course you can let us know via Twitter at mild_fuzz, or email us mildfuzz@gmail.com. Also email us or tweet us if you want to suggest movies for us to cover. Don't bother mentioning new ones because we're going to do the new ones anyway, but if there's an old horror movie you want us to watch and review, you know, we're open to suggestions. But with that said, you can find the rest of us on social medias. Joseph, where can people find you?
On Twitter at jkohler_93, on Letterboxd at jm_kohler, Reddit jkohler_93, and if you want to make an iCheck Movies account and just compare yourself to me, flash_ms93.
That's quite a good ego boost, actually. Go and compare yourself to Joseph. You'll come out favourably. I'm almost willing to guarantee it.
Oh no.
Oh.
No, everyone else in the group except for Peter is below me. Peter's the only person who's ahead of me.
Damn right. Tim, where can people find you?
Social media stuff at Tim Vargulish, and check out facebook.com/goatmancomics for some comic book stuff that I do.
Cool. You can find me on Twitter and other social media places at Wibble89. You can also find me on a bunch of shows here on the network. If you're on YouTube, this is on the movies channel, the Mild Fuzz movies channel. You can find all the other stuff we do on movies from 1.21 gigawatts, which is trailer talk every week. We talk about the newest trailers. We review movies when big new ones come out, and we also talk about all the latest movie news. You can also head over to the video games stuff at 1080-bit video games, and you know, watch that live on Twitch even every Saturday. So you can go and check all the times in that for that stuff. But otherwise, guys, if you don't care about any of that, you just want to keep it here on Screams After Midnight for horror movies, that's fine too. Just try and help out the show, please, by giving us a good rating on iTunes, or giving us a thumbs up on YouTube, or liking and sharing and tweeting about us, or whatever it is you want to do. But it helps us out a lot regardless, and keeps the show alive. Unlike The Forest, which is very much dead.
Ooh.
Thanks very much for watching. Keep watching scary movies, guys, and we'll see you next week.